Welcome to my channel. In August 1977, the quiet suburban neighborhood of Enfield, North London, became the epicenter of one of the most famous and controversial poltergeist cases in history. The events that unfolded in a modest council house at 284 Green Street would captivate the world, spawning books, documentaries, and even films like The Conjuring 2. At the heart of the Enfield poltergeist case was the Hodgson family, consisting of single mother Peggy Hodgson and her 4 children, Margaret, Janet, Johnny, and Billy. The first signs of trouble began on the evening of August 30th, 1977. Peggy Hodgson was putting her children to bed when she heard Janet and Johnny complaining that their beds were shaking.
Mom, my bed, it's shaking. It's like someone's pushing it.
Oh, stop being silly, you two. It's probably just your imaginations. Now, go to sleep.
Initially dismissing it as the children's imagination, Peggy soon heard knocking sounds coming from the walls. The noises grew louder and more persistent, and furniture in the children's bedroom began to move on its own. A chest of drawers slid across the floor, blocking the door. Despite Peggy's efforts to push it back, it seemed as if an unseen force was preventing her from moving it. Frightened, Peggy gathered her children and fled to their neighbor, Vic Nottingham, a builder who lived next door. Vic, known for his no-nonsense attitude, went into the house to investigate. To his shock, he heard the knocking sounds himself, which seemed to come from all directions. Realizing something was seriously wrong, Vic called the police. 2 officers arrived at the Hodgson home, and one of them, WPC Carolyn Heaps, witnessed a chair slide across the floor without any visible cause. In her report, she stated that she was convinced it was not the result of an ordinary physical force. Despite the officers' observations, there was little they could do, and they left the Hodgson family to cope with the unexplained phenomena on their own.
Over the next few weeks, the activity in the house intensified. The knocking sounds became a constant presence, and objects were thrown around rooms, sometimes in full view of witnesses. The Hodgson children, particularly Janet, appeared to be the focus of the disturbances. Janet would be thrown out of her bed by an invisible force, and her body would twist into unnatural positions. Family members and neighbors who witnessed these events were terrified, but their experiences were just the beginning. On September 4th, 1977, the Daily Mirror newspaper sent a photographer and reporter to the Hodgson house to cover the story. The photographer, Graham Morris, captured a series of images showing Janet being thrown from her bed as if by an unseen hand. The Daily Mirror's coverage brought the case to the attention of Maurice Grosse, a member of the Society for Psychical Research, SPR, who arrived at the house to investigate.
Maurice Grosse, a curious and empathetic man with a personal interest in the paranormal, was joined by another SPR investigator, Guy Lyon Playfair. Playfair, an experienced journalist and paranormal researcher, initially approached the case with skepticism, but he soon became convinced that something extraordinary was happening. Grosse and Playfair spent extended periods in the house, documenting the phenomena and interviewing the family. They reported witnessing objects being thrown across rooms, furniture moving on its own, and strange, disembodied voices. The investigators noted that the activity seemed to follow Janet, leading them to believe that she was the epicenter of the poltergeist's attention.
One of the most disturbing aspects of the case was the emergence of a deep, gravelly voice that appeared to come from Janet herself. The voice claimed to be that of a man named Bill Wilkins, who had died in the house years earlier. Bill's voice spoke through Janet in long, often aggressive monologues, describing his death in great detail. Grosse and Playfair recorded these sessions, and later analysis revealed that the voice did not originate from Janet's vocal cords, but from the false vocal folds, a part of the throat not typically used in speech. This phenomenon, known as false vocal fold phonation, added a chilling layer to the case.
The voice claiming to be Bill Wilkins was perhaps the most unsettling aspect of the Enfield poltergeist case. Bill claimed he had died in the house, describing his death in a detailed and graphic manner.
My name's Bill Wilkins. I used to live here, died in that chair over there. Went blind, had a hemorrhage. And now I'm stuck.
As news of the haunting spread, the Enfield poltergeist case attracted significant media attention. Reporters, photographers, and television crews flocked to the Hodgson home, eager to capture the paranormal activity on film. The case also drew the interest of paranormal enthusiasts, skeptics, and religious figures. The media's coverage of the Enfield poltergeist sparked mixed reactions. Some believed the Hodgson family was genuinely haunted, while others accused them, especially Janet, of faking the events for attention. Skeptics pointed to moments where Janet was allegedly caught bending spoons or deliberately moving objects. Despite this, Maurice Grosse and Guy Lyon Playfair insisted that while some incidents might have been exaggerated due to stress, the majority of the phenomena were real. They highlighted independent witnesses, including neighbors and police, who reported unexplained events. Critics like Anita Gregory argued that the case was filled with inconsistencies and that the family, struggling with difficult circumstances, might have sought attention. However, Grosse and Playfair stood by their belief in the haunting's authenticity. The poltergeist activity persisted for nearly 2 years, gradually subsiding by 1979. Janet later claimed that the presence never fully left her, though it became less intense as she aged. Despite ongoing debate, the Enfield poltergeist remains one of the most documented and controversial hauntings in history, leaving a lasting impact on the field of the paranormal. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more content.